Well, thank you, Priyanka. We go by the same name, so it's always nice to meet a fellow Priyanka here. So I want this to be a very interactive session, and as Priyanka pointed out, I'm Ross Allen. I graduated here from 2013, and I've been exactly in the same room where exactly you are sitting. So I know how it feels when our professors give us lectures on Saturdays. So I'll keep that in mind as we go along. But feel free to interrupt me. I'm not going to reduce your marks in any aspect. Your GPA is still safe and secure. And we'll try to do this in a TED-style fashion. All right, are you on board with this one? Yes. A louder yes, please. Yes. Awesome. So let's do a fun exercise to begin with. Who is next to you? Did you get a chance to even say hello to the person who's sitting next to you? Yes. You already know every time? So turn to the person next to you and say, hey, welcome to the Best Leadership Conference. And I want this to happen right now. Go ahead. 60 seconds. All right, now back to the quorum. So hopefully if there's an emergency, you at least know who's sitting next to you and whom you're supposed to save. So I'm glad we've taken care of that. So bring your own phones, right? Did you bring your smartphones today? Or any kind of a phone that can have a text message to it. And I remember sitting on the other side in Michigan, right, in one of these business classes. You're not supposed to use any of your tech devices. You see the stares from your professors when you start haggling over something else. But today, I thought, hey, let's go for it. So pull up your phones, please. Be ready. You're going to have your fastest finger first. So I have two pictures over here, listed as A and B. But I know if you know the answer, just keep quiet, hold it safe for yourself. And here's what I'm going to make you do. Phones ready? A louder yes, please. Yes. So if you know the person who's listed as A, you're going to text to that number. So that's the code that you see in blue or purple, 432-899. If that's A, if you know both A and B, then you have a different code, and you're going to text to that number, 22333. All right, 60 seconds is what I'm going to give you guys. Go ahead. All right, I'll give you another 20 seconds. This is a very serious crowd today. You guys are like all on the smartphones. All right, are you done with your assignment? Yes. Yes? All right, Saurav, can we pull up the results here? Let's see how the real-time interactivity works here. Ooh, so 80% say you know A, 20% say you know A and B. So who are the ones who said A? And can you please, somebody volunteer to let me know who that A is? Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, right. Who's B? Any other guesses? All right, it's not that. So the 20% are still wrong. So I would say 100% are still voting for A. So let's get back to the slide deck. So A is definitely Steve Jobs, and B is Dennis Ritchie. He's the inventor of C programming language. C is a programming language if you're in the tech field. So the fundamental aspect that I wanted to bring to this group today is, you know Steve Jobs, but why is that? It's because he has built a brand for himself. He's a publicly known figure. But B is equally well respected, but he doesn't have a personal branding for himself. And by the way, as a fun trivia, both of them left this world in October 2011. So it was a couple of days in between, but it's the same month and the year. So this emphasizes three important points that I wanted to share with this group. One, you have to build a brand for yourself. Why is that? Because people need to know who you are and what are you known for, right? And number two, you have to be in control of that narrative. If not, somebody else is going to perceive who you are and what you do. And three, how do you model yourself so your skill sets bring out the best in you? How does that resonate with where you are in today, where you are in today's life? And above all, I want to emphasize the fact that you don't have to be an extrovert and be the life of the party to accomplish any of these branding skill sets? How many of you would say you don't really like too much of networking? That's a sizable number for a business school, huh? I need to let the admissions department know about it now. So the fun aspect that I wanted to bring is, we always feel that, hey, I'm not a product, Priyanka. I'm not a service. I'm not Steve Jobs. I'm not at that executive level of leadership. Maybe I'll aspire to be there a few years down the lane. I have no idea, right? And that was my thinking when I was in business school as well. Hey, I want to change, pivot into a different career. I'm happy with the fat paycheck, good family life balance. That's it. But there's more to the story. You are who you are in terms of your story. How do you portray yourself? And that comes through the way of personal branding. Now I'm going to show you a fun, the most embarrassing 60 seconds of Priyanka's life, which the other Priyanka read and made me sound that I'm superhuman, but here's my real self. There you go. Saurav, can you play that video for us? Maybe you can increase the volume a little bit. Let's dim the lights. Can you just hold off on the video a second? Where do you do it? Oh, you can do it here? Okay. See, I'm still old school. When I was graduating, we had to go there. All right. Time for popcorn here. Is that the maximum?
Yeah.
Here comes the fun part. That's the second flip. And the third one. Finally, my instructor has had enough of me. But look at how I turn back and say hi-fi to him, even after that embarrassing journey of mine. All right, those are my other YouTube videos. If you have time and instead of Netflix binging, you can check my YouTube channel for some videos. Much better than the skydiving that I had. So the point that I wanted to emphasize here is, and by the way, that was me in the video if you're still trying to figure out who that was. In the spirit of Go Blue, I thought I'll share my funny side, maybe the America's funniest home videos here at Michigan. So that's exactly what I've been doing since the last 4 years I've graduated. There were people who were asking me, so what's happening with your life? And I said, this is what I'm up to. So let me share why this example makes sense to you today. So this is an indoor skydiving chamber in Virginia. So basically the way it works, as you saw in the video, you enter into a wind tunnel, and there is wind blowing from the bottom. It's a glass chamber, and then you have an instructor who helps you survive through the adventure. And then basically, you're replicating the outdoor skydiving experience. My Asian parents wouldn't let me do that, so I said, okay, let me do something that's simpler and safer, right? So here's the analogy that I figured out from my skydiving experience. So the gear that you see in red, everybody who enters into the skydiving channel wears the same gear. So that's pretty much equivalent to your educational credentials. Everybody in this room has more or less the same kind of educational path. And then as you enter into the channel and dive into the tunnel, the wind momentum that pulls you up, those are basically your career experiences, your resumes. More or less everybody in this room is equally qualified, right? But how do you differentiate yourself as you're graduating, or as an emerging professional, or as a seasoned professional? What's your brand differentiator? It's the Superman or the Superwoman pose that I was trying to hold, because that exactly made me choose between the option of either hitting the tunnel or floating. Do you agree? That's the brand differentiator that I wanted to make sure each one of you have as a key takeaway from this session. So it's the way you articulate yourself. That's the story. That's the message from this particular skydiving video. By the way, I'm now certified for indoor skydiving. I feel this is a very proud moment of my life after my Ross degree. So now here are 3 things that I wanted to talk to you about. So when you say, how do you build your brand? It's so simple to say, hey, tell your story. And that goes by the way of the elevator pitch that you do in business school. But here are my life experiences as I'm trying to figure out how do I articulate my story to the outside world in the most meaningful way. So there are 3 steps that I figured out. The first one is creating your brand. The second one, how do you propel your brand to the next level? And the third and the most important of all, as what Congressman Krishnamurthy said, how do you foster, how do you help others succeed? How do you help others create a meaningful impact? And like my friend over here suggested, how can I contribute to the community, right? So that's exactly the third step. And this applies to every aspect of your life. Let's talk about creating your brand. Do you know what these are? What are they? Social media channels, right? You see it proliferating in all aspects of your life. But have you ever figured out how are you presenting yourself in any of these digital media channels? This is something that I would like you to think about, reflect about. And here's an example that I pulled up. Oh, by the way, you see me on the side. I'm just putting me out there. Let me give you a moment to hear your story. So this is from Twitter. So these are the bios of Ariana Huffington from the Huffington Post, Richard Branson from The Virgin, and your very humble Ross Allen on the other side. And here's the story that I'm trying to create. Because most of the times when I go to networking events and they say, okay, Priyanka, what's your story? And I go and say, hey, I have a master's in computer science from American University, MBA from Ross School of Business. And then most people would say, so what? And that's something that you guys are going to run into. And I want to make sure it's not going to be a red carpet welcome for you all the time. So what are some ways in which you can build your story? And here's my story, and I would love to get your feedback. So let's talk about Ariana Huffington. It gives a sense of the personality behind the face. And that's exactly where you feel connected. Imagine walking into a room, and then the person is all about themselves, bragging about their education credentials, how awesome they are, versus somebody like Congressman Krishnamurthy, who just spoke in front of me, where there was a personal touch to every aspect that he spoke about, right? Didn't you feel much connected to him than me? Well, you should say no here, right? But on a funny note, there's a different vibe when people share their personal stories. It's more powerful. It's more meaningful. And here's my story. I'm just going to read it aloud. So I'm a technology leader at the U.S. National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. I work at the intersection of science and technology for this premier scientific research organization. But there's more to me than that. So here are some of the things that I went through as part of my reflection. I kept thinking, okay, I'm 30 years old. What am I even doing with my life? It's nice. I figured out my education part of it. But I didn't find any meaning further in my career, further in my life, I should say. Then I started thinking about what makes me happy. And here are a couple of things that were a revelation to me. I realized I love to speak. And what topics interest me? Science, technology, engineering, and math. So those were some things that I felt were so close to my heart. When I look at ways in which I can help the STEM community, especially at the grassroots level, bring in more talent into the STEM workforce. So that gives me a lot of happiness. The next one is my personality type. I started thinking, okay, you have different ways of projecting yourself. And I realized I am an ENFJ. Does anybody know what that is?
Extrovert.
Yes, my friend, be louder.
I don't know, and extrovert, and I don't know, feeling and judging.
Judging and intuitive. So I'm an extroverted, intuitive, feeling, judgmental person. So I'm just putting it out there. So that's something about me. Handwritten note aficionado. I love writing, especially handwritten notes. And I recently figured out I'd exhausted almost like 150 to 200 notes, which means I've sent it to so many people around the globe. I have no idea who they are, but I definitely have been sticking more stamps and bringing more business for USPS. Cloud enthusiast. All right, I work in the technology field, so I'm interested about cloud-based business models. But at the same time, I realized I'm so fascinated about the real clouds. Whenever I see a cloud, I'm there out taking a picture, not for me, but just the cloud. So I felt, hey, this is something that I really love doing. Hiker, something that I explored after coming to the US. I'm like, I need to be more mindful of my life and take time to enjoy myself and enjoy what nature has to offer. And I love to write. So those are some things that I really figured out make me happy. And these don't have to be the best hobbies in the world, but at least knowing what you're good at, it's an exercise that I would suggest you consider. All right, so let's move on to the second steps. First, we spoke about how do you create your brand in the digital world. But how do you propel your brand? All right, you would say, hey, Priyanka, I went home, followed your suggestion, I created my Twitter, or I updated my LinkedIn. So what? Is that going to make any difference to me? Isn't that true, Aishwarya? Awesome. So how do you take your brand to the next level? And there are two questions, my friends, that I wanted to touch base on. One, what's the most important and challenging aspect? Say, for example, for a rocket mission. Launch. Reaching the target. Aishwarya, you have an answer?
I think just being there inside for a very long time. If you're inside a rocket, then that's
Endurance? Okay. I need some voices from this side.
What's most important for a rocket? The design.
The design.
First, way to
Awesome. So I've heard multiple variations. But I would say here's the most important, as one of us really guessed it right. It's the takeoff. 90% of the mission success is as soon as you take off, that's very crucial. And everything else happens behind that. So it's about how do you take off your brand at a very high level in the right way. And that's where your focus needs to be. And how do you do it? There's several ways in which you can explore it. And here's my personal experience. There are 3 ways in which I try to build my brand. And this is still a learning experience. So I'm not here trying to preach to you saying this is exactly how you got to do to be in somebody's shoes. But one aspect is, how can you connect the dots? As you're talking about the 21st century workforce, you're looking at what skills should I really have? I have a Ross MBA, but is that specializing me in a specific field? But the world is evolving, right? So let's say my friend Param over here, he's concentrating in finance. But if technology is evolving at such a rapid pace, he needs to understand how is technology fitting into the finance domain, right? So that he can position himself more effectively. And that goes to any field that you're in. So it's how do you connect the dots to see the bigger vision? And this something is called the cliche thought leadership, which you've very well heard of. But that's something that you want to constantly be thinking of, just being curious. For example, as I was, when I flew from DC to Detroit yesterday for this event, the driver who was driving me to Ross, I kept talking with him because as a leader, you want to know what drives people, what inspires people, and no matter you're a janitor or wherever you are. And at the end of the conversation, when he dropped me off, he said, Priyanka, what do you do? I said, I work for a science organization. He said, you're really very curious about everything. I figured out his entire life in my 30-minute journey from Detroit to Ann Arbor, and I knew what drives him, pun intended, what inspires him. He's 70 years old, and there was a lot that I could just learn from somebody who's twice my age. And being curious really helps you in thinking through different dimensions. And you don't have to really put on your thinking hat and say, okay, now I'm curious. I need to be a thought leader. I need to write 100 articles on LinkedIn. That's not the point. It's about how do you see things converging and where do you see the future. So that's one aspect of thought leadership. The second aspect, which I've loved doing, is being a people connector. In business school, we talk about networking all the time, and I do know that some of our friends really dread networking. I should say I'm an extrovert. I love to be the life of the party, but sometimes if I feel I'm too low, I like to cut off myself from the rest of the world because I need to find my own inner drive before I again step out and be bubbly and energetic. But I really enjoy the aspect of seeing who should be talking to each other. You might not be the right person who can give advice to them, but if you say, hey, you know what, Aishwarya, you need to be speaking with somebody else that I know who has similar projects that you're working on. And that really creates a huge impact. Because people really value you for the kindness, the gestures, and the appreciation that you give for their meaningful projects. So being a people connector, and this is a term that somebody gave to me. I didn't even realize that I do a good or a decent job at this. But somebody told me, hey, you know what? Go and talk to Priyanka. She'll obviously find someone whom you should be talking with. And that's a way in which you can create a brand and an identity for yourself in whichever ecosystem you operate within. And the third aspect is just being here, doing these kinds of engagements where you share your story. Those give me a lot of happiness as well. And this could be through a variety of channels. Say, for example, articles that you can author, podcast that you can be part of. It's a raid. So you just find out, another friend of yours who's interested in a particular technology or a particular domain, and just have a conversation, just publish it on the web and see what the feedback is. And your employees are surely going to appreciate the fact that you have something outside of the regular domain that you operate within. And you can start it small. Don't just think that you're going to move the entire mountain by the time you graduate. Graduation is just one step. The real life comes right after that. And this is just a dose of how the real life is. I'm quite sure you've had career experiences prior to your MBA, but I wanted to give you a sense of my experiences and my struggles, my opportunities, my challenges, and my moments of self-doubt that I've been through. So those are 3 ways again. So thought leadership, how do you connect the dots? Number 2, being a people connector. And number 3, finding ways in which you can express and share your stories in these digital channels. Number 3, how do you foster your brand? I want to get some feedback from you. When you graduate from Ross, what do you guys want to do apart from your fatty paycheck jobs? How do you plan to give back to the community? Nobody wants to give back here? Well, I need some answers here. I'm definitely going to let your professors know. Parul.
That's a bigger problem. Because they don't know who's your community. First, they have to know their community. Because what's happening is that trust. There's a big trust deficit. And that's what the trust is we have to build to see that, how should we succeed. Because it's great to see, all these, I'm saying, leaders talking. But what's happening is the way, what's happening in their lives, everybody has their own life. And what's happening in their lives is very difficult to understand from the community perspective. So what's happening is that what you're saying is very well to say foster your brand, but they should know what brand they are first, then they can foster. And it takes time for people to understand their brand value. That's the thing.
That's very true. And Parul Soni, if you haven't had a chance to meet with him, go meet with him. He's a fantastic entrepreneur based out of India, and he does a lot for the women entrepreneurial space. And he was phenomenal. I spoke with him last night. I was like, man, I need to talk with you more. I want to see how I can do my entrepreneurial journey. How about here?
So I'm an environment engineer.
Sure.
So although I'm looking for like a career switch, like doing something, but I'd love to do something in parallel, wherein I can use my engineering skills and say some kind of social impact. But that's not going to be my prime career. I'd like to take it in parallel with that.
Got you. Andrew, how do you plan to give back?
Probably through my career in healthcare to try to improve our healthcare system.
How about you, Samarth? Still figuring out. It's good that I ran into these guys yesterday, so I remember the names. So fostering your brand, as Parul mentioned, it takes time and effort. Probably it's going to take your lifetime to figure out what your brand is going to look like, but you can start small like what I'm doing. And say, for example, coming here, it's been 4 years since I've graduated, and I really want to thank Professor Krishnan. I know I've thanked him, but I can't thank you enough. He was one of my brilliant professors that I worked with during my stint at Ross. And it's been 4 years, and I have no reason to come back to Ross. But he created a reason for me, and so did the team at IBC, Pranay, Venkat, Saurav, Param, and the rest of the team. So I want to really thank you. Karen from the India Leadership Initiative, Wendy Cordell from the Alumni Relations team. So she does a very good job of ensuring alumni are still on our radar. And I want to make sure you do the same. Because it's fantastic in 2 ways. One, for me to give back to the community. And it's inspiring to be on this side of the podium, right? I've always envisioned, hey man, I want to go there and give a talk. I see my professors having, the best of their life being here and trying to be in a space which is very enriching, very enthralling. And the second aspect I would say is I get to learn a lot. So when I do these speaking engagements, speaking with different groups, it's reverse mentoring for me. You as grads have different thoughts about how the world is shaping up, how you can create meaningful things, and it's enriching for me to understand how all these connect together. So those are some of the ways in which you can foster your brand. But start it slow and steady, but I wanted to make sure I sow the seed in your mind as you're looking at your next steps in your career. So enough of all the advice and nuggets of wisdom. Here's the fun part of it. So I remember sitting in this room the last day of school, and my finance professor, I remember it still vividly in my memory. He was on this side of the whiteboard, and he said, you know what? You guys are graduating. And you've invested a lot in your Ross degree, and so did most of your Asian parents, so they must be excited to see how the return on investment is. If there's only one thing you remember from your finance class, it's just one equation. What's that? What's the only one equation that you need to remember from your finance class? Don't think too hard, just simple.
Savings minus expenses.
Be louder, Param.
Balance sheet equation, assets.
Awesome. That's the only thing he said I should remember, like all of our classmates, and I've remembered it very well in my life. And here's the analogy that I have for my life. It's the asset, which is you. It's equal to liabilities, which is the arrow that you see in between. What do you read there? Louder. You're going to face this in life now. Work-life balance, stress, family, kids, whatnot, your Ross debt, all together, pulled together, right? These are from your personal experiences. But it's the equities. If there's one takeaway, my friends, that I want you to remember, it's the equity in your life, which we all forget. And I forgot this for 26 years of my life. It was only the last couple of years I realized I need to be more happy in my life. And happiness comes in the way of simple pleasures. It doesn't have to be milestone achievements. It's not the awards or the recognitions or the big CEO titles which we all aspire for. It's the small moments in life, the small things that nature has to offer. Spending time with your family, your kids, your parents especially who are in a different country and a different time zone. Getting to understand what your professors do, what drives them. Seeing if you can make some kind of a difference to somebody's life. Like what Professor Prahlad's family is doing here, coming back and giving back to the community, which we really appreciate, ma'am. So those are the small things that really make a huge difference. And if you had noticed my slides, if you're really paying attention to what I was doing here on stage, you should see the logo over there to the side, and which is pretty much on all the slides to the top right corner. This was a revelation from my sister, who's a few years younger to me. She's also an artist and a technologist. And she has this smiley that she used to do as her signature for her paintings. And I kind of stole it because she's my sister, and I fine-tuned it going further. I do have copyrights for this. And here's why I use the signature. So there are 3 reasons for this. One, it's part of my executive signature. In my office at the academies, I have a glass office that's right next to the corner office. So I'm just like one step next to the corner office, logistically speaking, not from a technical leadership standpoint. And I get to oversee the Capitol Hill, which is the nation's most prestigious monument there. And if you remember your case studies, whenever a CEO or a top leader is in a dilemma or a crisis, the setting would be as the CEO looked through his glass window, reflecting on his life, or as he walked through the street's corner. And I keep thinking, maybe if I'll definitely get there at some point in my life. But in the meantime, those are things that I kept thinking. So what do I do to build my executive level signature? And that's part of my signature style. So if you ever get a chance to work with me, that'll be my P, which is part of my signature. And the second reason why I do this is we all speak about teamwork. We speak about collaboration. But at work, we think of each other as just a robo, not as a human. Where do you bring that human element, the self-care aspect of it? When I work with teams, the biggest thing that I think about is how compassionate can I be for them? Everybody has different highs and lows, stresses, and as I was talking with Param, you mentioned having a safe space. We feel like Ross is a safe space. Everybody understands what we do. But when you go to the real world, you feel, is my teammate going to understand what I'm going through? I'm not going to be at my 100% full capacity every single day. But these are small nuances, small gestures that you can do as a leader. And I do it by way of my signature. So when you look at my signature, somebody at least smiles. They think, hey, what's that smiley there, right? And the third aspect is to remind me that I got to be happy. And you're in this for the long run. So for the next 30, 40 years of your career, you want to see yourself as a successful Ross alum who comes back to the community, who makes the community proud, which means you got to enjoy the small successes and remind yourself that happiness needs to start within you. So if nothing else, I hope this smiley sticks with you. And if you think, hey, Priyanka, that's still too much for a Saturday morning, you at least know one person who's sitting next to you. So I think that's a great networking that you've done today. Thank you so much again for the wonderful opportunity.